And let's go ahead and get started. Hello, Dr. Shunji Brown-Woods. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm absolutely wonderful. I'm so excited. So you all, I'm not sure if you know, but Dr. Brown-Woods and I have known each other for a very long time. We went to college together at the Xavier University of Louisiana in New Orleans. We also pledged Gamma Alpha chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated together. And we both have gone on journeys to achieve our doctorates, whether that be our medical doctorate or our PhDs. We've gone on that journey. She is probably one of the most intelligent women I know. Okay. And just people in general. She is so well read. She is so well rounded. I am so excited to present to you a global healthcare executive, Dr. Shunji Brown-Woods. Go ahead and take it away. Let us know a little bit about you.
I am Shunji. I tend to go by Shunji. I've earned doctorate in leadership and policy studies, a master's in health administration, and a degree in chemistry from Xavier University of Louisiana. I spent 3 years in medical school, so the almost MD sits there somewhere too. But I think that that's important to share with folks because not finished doesn't mean not important. And so we'll kind of talk about that a little bit too when you think about ambition. I'm a mom of 3. I have an almost 19-year-old, 16-year-old, and a 13-year-old. And I did a lot of this education while raising children and also growing in my career while raising children and being a wife of nearly 21 years. So that's just a little bit about me, and I'm glad to be here.
And we are so excited to have you here. And as you all know, we are going to be talking about the word ambition. One of the things that we do every day is a daily podcast, and the word of the day, ambition, and the subject matter, ambition. So Dr. Shunji Brown-Woods, Shunji, I can't help it. I got to say your whole name. Dr. Woods, can you let us know the top 3 things you want us to know about as far as having ambition and it not being a bad word?
Yeah, aside from it not being a bad word, I think it's really important that we understand that ambition is also not you being selfish. It's not about a power grab. It's not about, competitive and win at all costs. It's really not about, whether or not you are the man in the group because you have qualities that may look more masculine as opposed to qualities in leadership that may be ascribed to more feminine types of qualities. So I would say that the key takeaways is that it doesn't mean that you're selfish. It doesn't mean that you are, super competitive. And it doesn't mean that you have to act like or be like a man to lead well and be ambitious.
So go ahead. I'm just going to open the floor to you and you can let us know what you want us to know about ambition.
Yeah, I would say that, with ambition, I think a lot of times we want to look at just the success and the power piece of that, but they don't necessarily go hand in hand. Like power and authority are, again, part of that ambition cycle that aren't bad things. It's how you wield it, right? So if you wield power in a way that's going to be empowering to other people around you, developing people that are around you, seeing the best in everyone and the opportunities, that's what helps you drive forward to that success factor. I think a lot of times we say, look, go run full force, knock over anybody that's in your way. That's never been my approach. It's always been, how can I bring and who can I bring along with me on this journey so that we can win together, grow together, be our best selves together. How do we grow through failure? I mean, failure is a great teacher. Unfortunately, people don't like it. It's like, oh, it demonstrates weakness. Not necessarily. Sometimes the strongest people will have failed several times before they got it right. And we forget that we only see the good stuff and where they actually made it to, that we don't go back and peel back that onion of what were the things that helped contribute to who you are. Ambition driving through failure is critical to being able to achieve like heights that you may not have ever thought you could. One thing about it is if someone tells you no and you're like, oh no, I really think I can do that. You go, you do it, you prove it to yourself. Ambition as children is accepted. We encourage it. And then all of a sudden we want it to turn off when we become adults as women. Why is that? Why is it not okay for us to still say, I have a goal that I can jump, these next 10 steps and not break my neck? Why can't we say that in our career? I know that I can go these next 3 positions and grow in my career and learn these new skills and not feel like you are taking something from someone. If you earn it, you go get it, it's yours. There's no one really that can tell you no. We typically do it to ourselves. And part of it is because we downshift to make other people comfortable. Why do we have to make other people comfortable with your greatness, with your ambition, with your abilities, your knowledge? Why do we do that? Well, we defer a lot. I would say as women, we tend to defer. We tend to say that we can't have it all. We tend to say, well, if I get too much, people aren't going to like me, or they're going to be envious, or this is going to happen. Why do we care? So one of the things that I think that probably is one of the biggest lessons learned for me is, as I'm raising my 3 children, 2 of which are women or girls, I don't want them to see limits, and I don't want them to shift how they approach life with the ambitions that they have today. They should still approach it as childlike and as open and honest and free as they do as children, even as adults. There are no limits but the ones we allow people to place on us, and that we give people permission to set for us if we're not careful. So one of the things I've done really carefully over the last few years, I would say, as I've grown, is to not give people permission to choose what I can have and what I can't. I go for it until I hit the roadblock, and then I just redirect and keep going. So sometimes you grow up, you grow lateral. Sometimes you might have to go back a couple of steps to reset. But ambition is not a bad thing in that sense. It doesn't mean that you are willing to, like I say, win at all costs. I've seen people sacrifice things that were important to them. Their family. Oh, I have a family now, but I really want that next position. I'll go do this thing. They'll be all right. If you do it with good balance, sometimes that's necessary, but I've seen people do it at all costs, to marriages, to their families, to colleagues. Choose what your value system is, hold true to that, then ambition is not a bad word, if that makes any sense.
One of the things that you definitely said that struck a chord with me is why do we have to shrink ourselves? One of the things I say all the time is, boo, you better put your shades on because I'm shining bright. So can you just go over that little, what you said about not dimming your light?
Yeah. And it's interesting that you caught that part, because we've had those deep discussions around that. And there have been times when I've been willing to shade myself to help other people feel comfortable with who Shunji is. And I had to come to grips that that's not my problem, right? It's not my problem that there's a threat. It's not my problem that they can't figure out how to shine in their own light where it needs to be. Because if you think about spotlight on a stage, there are several places that those spotlights can be bright. You don't have to be in each other's shade. You could truly find your own spot, right? So in acknowledging that for myself, but also for others, I realize I don't have to shrink. I don't have to turn my light down. I just need to be. And I have much more congruence with myself, in my own heart, in my house, my family, with my friends, when I am just allowing myself to be, not second guessing it, not worrying about how somebody else is going to feel. My girls will tell you that I'm pretty mean in this. When their friends start acting all kind of funky or whatever, I was like, for how long will that matter in your life? I know this sounds bad. And I say, well, they don't matter. If it's something that you can't resolve, or they can't forgive, or you can't reconcile as friends, 5 years from now, you might have a different set, or you will grow together through it. But today, it's not the worst thing in the world. So it doesn't matter as much as we're giving it credit and power. So we've got to choose how we use our energy. And so that's what I do with people. And I'm like, now you get what you get.
Let's see, TD, how do you truly be yourself when the people who stand in your way have an issue with you and your glow?
One, you have to kind of reframe that question, because they have an issue, not you. So then just be yourself. Don't negotiate with people who have an issue with you, because you can't fix them. You can't change them. The only thing that you can control in that narrative is yourself. So don't diminish who you are in that instance. Don't be rude. Don't be unkind. Be consistent and authentic, but that allows you the freedom to be who you are, and they either accept it or they don't. And then you figure out, like, to what extent do they impact what your pathway is going to be and achieving next steps. If they do, then you need to have a very true conversation with them about how they've made you compress to make them comfortable. And that's a difficult conversation, but sometimes very necessary.
Can you tell us about your consulting business and what you're able to help people do?
Yeah, so I do coaching. That part about how long, so there's a question that came up, but I'll answer the first question from you, Dr. Kelly. So I do consulting for leadership development. but also for folks who are looking to make transition from one career to the next. So I've got a very different kind of background. I'm not your traditional healthcare executive. So I'm able to glean, share some of those experiences that can help people see outside of the box that they're in, especially if they're looking to make a transition from education to healthcare or healthcare to education. I've worked in all of those sectors. But also in just kind of profiling what it is you see as your strengths and your weaknesses and opportunities, and how to potentially reach for that next promotion. Mentoring and what sponsorship looks like, and helping people define what that looks like for them, and whether or not they have those resources in their own company, and what questions they can ask to get the right type of sponsorship and or mentorship in their organizations. So I provide a lot of technical support, if you will, on like career development and where to go to reach your heights in your organization or even outside of your organization, because not all of your mentors and sponsors should be in the same organization with you.
I love that you asked that question, because it really does go back to that introspection. And it also helps us understand, what are the long-term goals with this relationship? What are we doing with the relationship? Yeah. Because based on what the long-term goals are for this relationship, short or long-term goals, is how we're going to decide how we reconcile and how we resolve the situation. I always want to do everything as amicably as possible. However, we also have to look at, okay, where are we with the goals in this relationship as well? So,
and I would say this, Kelly, I'll say this, and I think it's important to the ambition conversation. Sometimes we hold back because of what we think those relationships are going to look like, and we don't achieve our highest and best good, if you will, because we allow people to hold us back. And it's not even their fault, because we gave them that power. Sometimes they don't even know that they hold it over you. So be very clear about how people serve you and how you serve them in a relationship, and what you look for in terms of your ultimate goals to achieve as a pair. And I say that thinking about my husband. My kids don't really have control over all of that, but at some point they do as they become young adults of their own. I can't let my ambition to go to the next level in my career be held back by the fact that they're going to be kids, because they're not going to be kids forever. So then what? When they're no longer under your roof, did you hold yourself back so much while they were growing that you can't jump to the next thing? I haven't. Honestly, I've always worked on plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I'm like almost through the alphabet. So my ambitions have never ceased nor been diminished just because I've had children or a husband or living in Memphis even. That's not limited me in any way.
Not at all, because as I told y'all, she is a global executive. And when I say global, I mean global. Switzerland, name off some of those countries. Can you just name off a few for us, please?
Yeah, I've been to Singapore, China, Switzerland, India, Mumbai, which was a really interesting city to go to, London. And it's just been a really rich experience doing the job that I do today, working for a company that I probably never would have had on my radar had I not had some of the setbacks and failures that I talked about. It's brought me great success, and also an openness to try things that I never thought I would. And I think that goes back to just that ambitious nature and goal setting and stepping out on faith, if you will, to do the unknown, and using those same goal setting techniques and tactics that we did as kids and say, I want to try this. I'm sure I can do it, and making it happen. But yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we do once a month is called the Affirmation Room. And that is when we come in the Zoom room, and for 15 minutes at 8 p.m. Eastern time, once a month, we go over what are we letting go of in our lives that we don't need anymore? What are we affirming in our lives? What are we calling forth? So that's where those goal setting comes in. And what are we thankful for? And I will tell you, y'all, the people that have been in the affirmation room, it's happening for them. But the biggest thing is that they got to believe in themselves, and they have to stop letting other people being barriers to their success. And I do think, like you said, we do give away our power a lot of time, and we think that other people are promoting us. No, you are actually doing the work to promote yourself. So I think that's a big one. So there are a couple people in here that are a lot of us are in here, including myself, are going through major transitions in their life, in their careers. They want to be promoted to the next level. They want to get to the next level. They're pivoting and deciding whether or not they're staying in the same career or they're going to go into a different career. Do you have any recommendations for them as they make these transitions to higher levels, as well as maybe cross-lateraling?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid, right? Like, I think sometimes we stay a little bit too long where we are out of
Mm,
fear. Don't let
mm,
fear keep you from making the transition. Seek out the right people for counsel, but also be willing to invest. And we don't like to do this, but pay the money, invest in the right leaders and champions, consultants, and professionals to help build your story board for you, right? So like your career journey tells a story. Just because you've been here for 15 years doesn't mean you can go do something in another discipline, another industry, whatever. It's about the skills that you have developed over that time and your transferability of those skills. And a lot of times we're just really afraid to transfer our skills into something outside of what our comfort zone prepared us for. But there's so much joy and opportunity and rebirth in being able to make that transition and to continue to learn and stretch for the next phase of whatever your career may be. So take the chance.
Hey, one of the things that Mr. Jones says is jump in, the water is fine. And
The water is
I
fine.
at different times in our lives, especially when we get
Yeah.
comfortable position that we're in, we are afraid to jump sometimes. But this is the perfect time in your life. You have been doing the work, you have the expertise, you are the subject matter expert. So jumping in because you know that your higher power has got you, and they are not going to allow you to land anywhere that is not going to allow you to propel to your next level and go along with divine plan for your life and purpose. So, well, thank you so much, Dr. Shunji Brown-Woods, for being on with us tonight. I have dropped your links in the chat for our guests to be able to copy and paste into their phones and be able to reach out to you for any consultation that they have in regards to career development and promotion. And as you all know, I'm Dr. Kelly OMD, board certified OBGYN and healthcare consultant. And we are here to help you live your healthiest and wealthiest life, spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, and emotionally. I have dropped my information in the chat. And I just want you to know these webinars happen 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Mondays. We also have what's called an affirmation room or a meditation room that happens once a month for 3 nights a week at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And also we have something called a Vivalife experience. So if you want to join any of those things, then please go ahead and click the link in the chat, and then we will get you hooked up with everything. We are here to decrease the stress, combat resistance, and help you live your healthiest and wealthiest life. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Good night, and don't forget to do what? Viva Life. All right, all right. Thank you for being a part of the Vivalife experience. I'm Dr. Kelly MD, board certified OBGYN and healthcare executive. If you like what you heard, then please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. The reason why is because we are trying to educate, encourage, and inspire 1 million people to live their healthiest and wealthiest life. And this is what we're bringing you. We're bringing you educational videos. We're bringing you podcasts. We are bringing you webinars with subject matter experts, including myself, about the topics that affect you the most. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. We are everywhere. Have a wonderful day. Viva Life.